come, Ray. The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball.
Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win. Now the 2-1.
Line drive to the base. Just as the guard of tying run. Green to the plate. And he is safe. Safe at the plate. The Braves go to the World Series.
Have reserved seats somewhere along one baseline that sat when they were children and cheered their heroes.
Gibson swings and a fly ball to deep right field. This is going to be a home run. Unbelievable!
A 3-run home run for Bucky Dent. The Yankees now lead it by a score of 3-2.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mazeroski has hit a 1-0 pitch over the left field fence at Ford Field to win the 1960 World Series.
They arrive at your door as innocent as children, longing for the past.
The Pope arrived at Yankee Stadium. As one enthusiastic announcer put it, he is standing on second base.
Reggie Jackson. Long drive right field. It is goodbye. Big World Series.
The Blue Jays are World Series champions as Joe Carter hits a 3-run home run.
Back to throw. There's a left back. Up for me, I believe. The Giants come to pass. The Giants come to pass.
The 0-1 pitch. A liner off Nagy's glove into center field. The Florida Marlins have won the World Series.
The memories will be so thick that I can brush them from their faces.
The 1-0 delivery to Fisk. He swings long drive left field. If it stays fair, it's gone. Home run. The Red Sox win. And the series is...
Lolich fires, ball is hit high in the air. This should be the series. Freehand waving everybody away in foul territory. Detroit wins. Here's the pitch to Willie.
There's a liner straight to Richardson. The ball game is over and the World Series is over. Willie McCovey hit it like a bullet. A line drive.
Baseball to mark the time.
The Oakland A's take. I'll tell you what, we're having an earth.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Candlestick Park for Game 3 of the 1989 World Series.
And erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again.
Frank Robinson, the right-hand batter.
Long drive to left field. Way back. This is it. Home run.
Base loaded, one out. Pena in a jam. The Twins are going to win the World Series. The Twins have won it.
I see with one out. Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. It's a home run. And the
Willie Mays just put this crowd to its feet with a catch. Which must have been an optical illusion to a lot of people.
This field, this game, is a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that once was good, and it could be again.
Broadcasted live.
Hey, who wants to have some fun?
There are balls coming from all over the place. Left field, center field, right field. See, this is the kind of thing, quite honestly, right now, that makes you want to see the Chicago Cubs team lose.
Now, you just saying you want to have fun, or do you really want to have fun?
It'll be fun.
Will the next person that sees anybody throw anything onto this field, point them out, and get them out of here. You don't let it in Cleveland. Get in Cincinnati.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
That is the farthest thing in the universe from the truth.
Hello, everyone, live. It's the Dan Scott Show. And right there is your host, Dan Scott.
All right, Howard, thank you very much. And good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of the program. I am Dan Scott. Good to have you with us. You will notice the different surroundings. We are in the home studio today, which is somewhat rudimentary compared to the advanced rudimentary studio we have in the radio booth at Furman, but it hopefully gets the job done. And I hope that you guys can hear and everything is sounding fine as far as the sound is concerned, because that's what we would hope would be sounding fine, wouldn't we? Anyway, I trust that I'll get the feedback necessary, especially from my Facebook Live feed, and you guys will let me know how it sounds. In any event, we look forward to getting through the course of the program today. A lot more on Furman and Wofford as we go through the course of the show. Furman basketball hosting Winthrop this evening, which will be an ESPN3 broadcast, simulcast on Fox Sports 1440. Bryant Lambert and I will have the call there. Dave Glenn of ACCSports.com will be joining us, and we'll get his thoughts on the coaching carousel, and could it be actually coming to Florida State? Could Jimbo Fisher be on his way to Texas A&M? That's the big concern coaching-wise inside the Atlantic Coast Conference. And also, we will take a look at the college football polls, the rankings as they came out yesterday, and also more coaching moves. In fact, we may start with that because I'm still waiting on a graphic and some other things to get done that I'll have for Furman and Wofford. So let's start talking about those polls for a little bit. Very interesting if you were paying attention to the new rankings by the committee, and this is the next to last one. The last one, of course, will be released on Sunday after Saturday's conference championship games. But the new committee poll has Clemson at number 1, Oklahoma 2, Wisconsin 3, and 2-loss Auburn at number 4. And on the outside looking in are 1-loss Alabama and 1-loss Georgia. The losses each of those teams suffered, of course, came at the hands of Auburn, which explains why Auburn is ranked ahead of both of those schools. You have Miami at 7, Ohio State at 8, and Penn State at 9, followed by TCU at number 10. But those first probably 6, I keep seeing people talking about a way that Ohio State could jump in there, and I just don't see enough happening for Ohio State to come from 8 all the way to number 4. I suppose anything is possible should there be a mass group of upsets. But one of the ways that can happen, of course, is with Ohio State winning the Big Ten championship game. They'll be playing against undefeated Wisconsin this week. So they are going to have an opportunity to dislodge Wisconsin. And look, even though they're the only undefeated team in there, Wisconsin's margin of error is less than that of just about anybody. In fact, there's some belief that even a second loss for a team like Clemson might still keep them in the top 4. Now, I don't necessarily think that's the case, but you have people obviously speculating about all of these things. But Wisconsin's margin of error, even though they're the only undefeated team, is easily the least of any of the teams in that top 5 or 6. So, a Georgia win over Auburn in the SEC championship game is going to put Georgia in, going to knock Auburn out with 3 losses. So both Georgia and Auburn, from that standpoint, control their own destiny. Clemson and Oklahoma at 1 and 2 control their own destiny. Both are 1-loss teams. Both with a win will solidify the positions they have right now. What's very intriguing is that 1-loss Alabama team that is sitting there at number 5, and if things finish the way they shaped up this week, Alabama would be left out. A Georgia win over Auburn, if Clemson, Oklahoma, Wisconsin win basically freezes Alabama out. And the discussion obviously is going to be, and the committee says this actually plays a big part in their criteria. Alabama's loss to Auburn keeps them from playing in the SEC championship game. So while they have a lot going for them despite the loss to Auburn, while they have passed the quote-unquote eye test against what in many ways has been a fairly soft schedule, they still are a one-loss team, and still many people consider them to be the best team in all of college football. I'm not sure that I agree with that, but there are those people who still tout them as the best team. They're definitely in the running. There's no question about that. But there's going to be an awful lot of controversy if a conference champion happens to be left out and Alabama vaults somebody to get in the final poll, and they didn't even play for a conference championship. The committee criteria says that the conference championship game, getting to it, weighs heavily in everything they take in consideration. That being the case, if they stick true to that, it's going to be hard for Alabama to move from number 5 to number 4 unless there are a number of upsets. Again, now if Miami at number 7 were to knock off Clemson, should Oklahoma State stumble in the Big 12 championship game against TCU and Ohio State knock off Wisconsin, then we're talking about all kinds of chaos. But if Clemson, Oklahoma, and Auburn all hold true, a Wisconsin loss, is that enough to vault Alabama in? If Georgia beats Auburn, Georgia's going to vault in there. Are they going to jump Alabama? Does Alabama move up? I mean, there's a lot of talk, a lot of discussion about the whole thing. But right now in this penultimate poll, Alabama is on the outside looking in. But there's one more week of football to go, and a lot that still could happen with these conference championship games. I'm telling you, if there are a slew of upsets in this thing, it's going to throw this committee into absolute chaos as they try to decide who finishes the top 4. So from those 4 team standpoints, they win, they're in. The team that's on the most tenuous footing, I think, is Wisconsin. The second most tenuous footing, I think, would be Auburn, because Georgia's a good football team, and that rematch would be fairly intriguing. But you take nothing for granted, and that's absolutely true. You take nothing for granted at all. This last weekend promises to be a doozy as far as these teams are concerned. Anyway, that's a look at the polls. We will take a quick break and come back, and we'll get into the meat of the program today. As always, the show is presented by the Atlanta Bread Company. They are back open after being closed yesterday. And just a reminder that as the weather has turned cooler and is going to get even colder, boy, wouldn't it be nice to have some hot soup, hot chili, hot sandwiches, and a bevy of hot drinks to kind of warm your soul a little bit. They have all of that there, as well as obviously their full menu. So stop by and see them. They're located in Cherrydale Plaza in Greenville. Tell them you heard about them here on the show, and thank them for their sponsorship of the Dan Scott program. We'll take a break and come back and continue with more here on this Wednesday edition of the show. Furman and Wofford Talk coming up next. Don't go away. The Atlanta Bread Company wants to make your dining experience as convenient as possible, especially if you're ordering takeout. Go online to atlantabreadcompany.com, place your order there, and pay for it too. Then, when you get to the restaurant at Cherrydale Point, you breeze right by the cash registers and go straight to the pickup counter where your food will be waiting. And speaking of food, try the new Shrimp Po' Boy, a delicious and surprisingly healthy addition to the already great menu. That's the Atlanta Bread Company, Cherrydale Point in Greenville.
Looking for a good lunch spot in the Travelers Rest area? The Cafe at Williams Harbor is your place. Williams Harbor has food for the whole family, from the famous ribbon to the barbecue chicken quesadilla and their daily lunch specials, which includes the award-winning BLT unpimmented cheese with pepper jelly, served Tuesday to Thursday. Williams Harbor also serves breakfast on Saturdays from 8 to 11, perfect before Furman home game. And don't forget the gift shop, which offers items for anyone on your list. Go see your friends at the Cafe at Williams Hardware, 13 South Main Street in downtown TR. Full menu and operating hours at the Cafe at WilliamsHardware.com.
So you've got a busted phone or tablet screen. Time to get a new device? Nope. Time to give it CPR. CPR cell phone repair at Cherrydale can repair almost any phone or tablet screen on the market and usually can do it same day. In fact, if you have an iPhone, the fix usually takes less than an hour. CPO cell phone repair also can fix computers and gaming systems, both screens and hard drives. And they sell refurbished devices and new accessories. Stop by and see the new owner, Janet Culver, today, and check them out on Facebook. That's CPR Cell Phone Repair at Cherrydale, 864-282-9097. Give it CPR today.
Hey Furman fans, it's baseball season. Here at Ingalls, we know that as you root for the home team, sometimes you want more than just peanuts and Cracker Jack. And while we do deliver on your favorite ballpark classics, we're proud to offer a packed lineup of everything you need to make your next meal a home run. Ingalls, a proud sponsor of Furman Baseball and the official grocery store of Furman Athletics. Go Dins!
The Atlanta Bread Company at Cherrydale Point offers a dining experience that will have you coming back for more time and time again. Everything is freshly made on site, including the different varieties of bread and all the baked goodies. And the menu, Atlanta Bread Company offers a wide variety from hot soups and chili to hot and cold sandwiches and paninis. Even breakfast selections topped off with your choice of piping hot coffees. Come see for yourself. You'll love it. The Atlanta Bread Company at Cherrydale Point, proud sponsors of the Furman Paladins and the Dan Scott Show. All right, welcome back to the program as we continue live here on this Wednesday edition of the show. Dave Glenn of ACCSports.com will be joining us coming up here in just a bit. Lively discussion going on amongst the troops on Facebook Live. Also welcome those of you who are watching via Periscope, which is Twitter's live video arm, and maybe even YouTube. We're streaming live to all three of those places here from the home studio today. Again, not as fancy, quote unquote, as we have over at Furman, but at least for today, functional. Hope you'll join us tonight, by the way, for Furman basketball against Winthrop. We'll talk more about the game coming up, but it's a 7 o'clock start. Radio pregame will air at 6:30 on Fox Sports 1440, and we will have the call, Bryant Lambert and I, on ESPN3, simulcasted onto Fox Sports 1440. That tip-off will be shortly after 7 p.m. It's a good game last year. We'll talk more about it coming up here in just a bit. Want to talk a little bit more about Furman and Wofford, and specifically Furman's big play ability. The graphic that I have here is not the best in the world because I shot the picture off of a computer screen, but it'll at least give you some idea of how Furman's big play ability has increased under Clay Hendricks and Drew Cronick and George Quarles and Brian Bratton and everybody else on that coaching staff. Take a look at the big play comparison from a season ago to here in 2017. I mean, it's really startling. Furman had only 15 runs of 15 or more yards all last year, and this season the number of runs that exceeds that is 34, and an average of 27.9 yards. When it comes to big pass plays, we had 23 pass plays of 25 or more yards a season ago. And remember, Furman could not run the ball last year, so they were throwing the ball quite a bit under senior quarterback Reese Hannon. This year, 28 pass plays. But check out the difference in the big play yardage and the total number of yards. 1,220 yards on those 28 plays for an average of 43.6 yards per reception. So Furman's big play ability has increased dramatically, especially in the running game. That's where it's most noticeable because, again, the passing numbers are similar 23 versus 28 this year, 23 a year ago, 28 this year. But the number of attempts is down significantly because, again, Furman could not run the football last year, so we were throwing it at an incredibly high rate. And Reese Hannon did a phenomenal job under the circumstances that he was living in with no running game. But the numbers are so much better this year, and the number of pass attempts overall are way down from what they were a year ago. Why? Because the ability to run the football is there, something that Furman has not had, as we have been keeping tabs on in the last really 3 seasons, and going back to the last time we made the playoffs back in 2013 is the last time there was really a representative running game. And you know, you look at it in Bruce Fowler's first 3 years here, 2011, 12, and 13, he had 1,000-yard rushers in each of those years. Gerodis Williams in 2011 and 2012, and Hank McLeod in 2013. After that, no 1,000-yard rushers, and the running game took a significant nosedive over the next 3 seasons. Well, Furman's not going to have a 1,000-yard rusher this year unless Antonio Wilcox and or Keelan Dirks goes absolutely nuts this week against Wofford and approaches 300 yards rushing. But the bigger numbers are when you combine those fullback numbers, you're talking about over 1,400 yards rushing. I think the number of touchdowns is now up to 22, maybe, without having that right in front of me, just from that fullback position. So combined, those two have given Furman a devastating inside running presence. And then you add what Darius Moorhead has been able to do in a fraction of the carries in the option game, and it's giving them the real inside-outside punch. And, you know, what we have seen here of late, and I would imagine the tactic that Wofford is going to take as well, is teams saying, okay, we're going to take away the fullback, we're going to take away Moorhead, and we're going to make Blazejowski keep the ball on that option. Well, we saw Samford do it 2 weeks ago. We saw Elon try to do it this past week, and PJ was able to get some tough runs to loosen some things up. And more than that is his ability and willingness, I think, to be better at attacking the opposing cornerbacks. We saw that, and I think I referenced this yesterday, really saw that on one particular run against Elon on Saturday when we're pinned back at our 9-yard line, and we go option left, and he really attacked the corner, made the corner finally commit to him, and at the very last minute, you can, you know, hey, look, there's the pitch. At the very last minute, right as he was getting hit, got the pitch off, going left to Moorhead, turned it into a 21-yard run up to the 30, and the next play, they show option coming to the right, he backs out of it, and throws a 70-yard touchdown pass to Andy Shumpert, and there's nobody even close to Shumpert in the middle of the field. So the ability to make the defense commit to be a threat running the football is a big, big part of this offense now for Furman, and I'm talking about from P.J. Blazejowski's standpoint, because teams are going to make him do that, as we've seen the last couple of weeks. It's been fun to watch. It really has been fun to watch. And as you go deeper into the season, obviously, the opportunities to run the football are going to be more difficult. You're going to be facing better defenses week in and week out. And this game against Wofford promises to be just a fantastic showdown. I can't wait until Saturday, and we've got 2 more days to continue talking about it. We've got to take a break, though. When we come back, we'll go to Dave Glenn, ACCSports.com. We'll get his thoughts on the new poll, his thoughts on the possibility of Jimbo Fisher leaving Florida State. Could that actually happen? Well, we'll find out when we return as the Dan Scott Show continues right after this. Don't go away.
Stuck in a state of falling behind? Struggling to keep up with your kids, finances, insurance? Then let State Farm agent Steve Borkland Travelers Rest help you simplify and get to a better state. Because with Steve handling your auto, home, and life insurance, you'll have more time for everything else. More money, too, because adding State Farm policies could mean earning discounts worth up to 40%. That's money Steve can help you put towards a college savings plan. Call State Farm agent Steve Borkland today and get to a better state with State Farm.
Let me tell you something, Cowboy. This rookie can really bring the heat.
He's smoky and spicy with a Chipotle style all his own.
It's a new Montgomery Inn Chipotle barbecue sauce. Make it a part of your home team.
Available now at your neighborhood grocer or online at CincyFavorites.com.
Looking for a good lunch spot in the Travelers Rest area? The Cafe at Williams Hardware is your place. Williams Hardware has food for the whole family, from the famous Reuben to the barbecue chicken quesadilla and their daily lunch specials, which includes the award-winning BLT on pimento cheese with pepper jelly, served Tuesday to Thursday. Williams Hardware also serves breakfast on Saturdays from 8 to 11, perfect before Furman home game. And don't forget their gift shop, which offers items for anyone on your list. Go see your friends at the Cafe at Williams Hardware, 13 South Main Street in downtown TR. Full menu and operating hours at the Cafe at WilliamsHardware.com.
So you've got a busted phone or tablet screen. Time to get a new device? Nope. Time to give it CPR. CPR Cell Phone Repair at Cherrydale can repair almost any phone or tablet screen on the market and usually can do it same day. In fact, if you have an iPhone, the fix usually takes less than an hour. CPR Cell Phone Repair also can fix computers and gaming systems, both screens and hard drives. And they sell refurbished devices and new accessories. Stop by and see the new owner, Janet Culver, today, and check them out on Facebook. That's CPR Cell Phone Repair at Cherrydale, 864-282-9097. Give it CPR today. All right, welcome back to the show. It is 10:28 as we continue here on not a bad day, as a matter of fact, sitting over here in Pickens County. Don't have quite the view that I have on a normal basis when I'm at the studio in the radio booth at Furman. But God has provided us with a nice backdrop wherever we are, and hope that your day is going well. It's always a great day when we can welcome in this guy. He is Dave Glenn, ACCSports.com, host of the syndicated David Glenn Show on radio stations all throughout the state of North Carolina. We talk ACC, and usually another topic or three will come up during the course of our discussion. David, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, Dan. Hope you and your listeners had a great Thanksgiving.
Same here. I don't know if you saw on social media or not, but we had a major Thanksgiving plan for the second year in a row. We were going to have 25 people over at the Scott family ranch, and had all the plans ready, and then my grandson decided to be born 3 weeks early. So we canceled the plans and got to welcome little August Finn Rogers into the world last Wednesday night. So Wednesday was a good day. David Glenn early, grandson late. Can't beat that.
Well, congratulations to that. It's good to know that the Scott family still has an audible ready when needed.
Yeah, no kidding. And finally, my dog and I have a little bit of backup. Everything else in this house is a woman. So Jeff Foxworthy called it swimming in the estrogen ocean. So we needed all the help we could get. Hey, let's jump right into this. And before we even talk about the polls, I think the biggest possible story, maybe it's a non-story now, but the thing that seems to be looming over this conference is centering in Tallahassee, where reports have been that Texas A&M is hot after Jimbo Fisher, and Jimbo Fisher may have a serious interest in leaving Florida State and going to the Aggies. David, what can you tell us?
Well, this is one of those situations that comes down to basically a personal decision. And this is a rare year, Dan, where if you look at the 14 ACC football full-time members, there, of course, as always, are a few with losing records, but Larry Fedora is on incredibly solid ground at UNC, Pat Narduzzi at Pitt, Dino Babers at Syracuse. Those guys have been there for only so long. Paul Johnson and Georgia Tech are working out some changes to the nature of their relationship so that he can get more support for salaries for his staff and other details about just the rest of his support group, if you will. So the guys with losing records are not really in jeopardy, and that means we have the uncommon possibility that we could start next season with the same 14 coaches that we ended this regular season. But the wild card is often, will somebody leave voluntarily? And Jimbo Fisher is leading that pack right now. And the bottom line in my eyes, when I say it's a personal decision, this is a guy who, while in Tallahassee, has done great things, obviously. Multiple ACC titles, national championship, Heisman Trophy winner with Jameis Winston, etc. And this is his only really bad year, the one we're experiencing right now. But in recent years, he has gone through a divorce from his wife. And this year, he did hear a level of backlash from his own fan base, second-guessing, screaming matches at times with fans, calls for the heads of his assistant coaches. A personal circumstance like a divorce can cause people to want to start fresh somewhere else. And months' worth of negativity can cause somebody to contemplate whether they want to start fresh somewhere else. We know Texas A&M will back up the Brinks truck. There's no problem money-wise. We know Florida State would match almost anything that somebody else had to offer, and that's why I say it's a personal decision. Financially, FSU is not going to be outspent, but in the bigger picture, if Jimbo Fisher simply wants to start fresh somewhere else, there's only so much the Seminoles could do about that.
David, there's some speculation that I've read that Fisher is not happy that Clemson has, in the eyes of many, zoomed past Florida State as far as facilities and infrastructure and other things, and is not happy that maybe the catching up process is not coming along as quickly as he would like. And the thought is, if you're operating under that theory, that at Texas A&M they can basically print money, facilities, and everything else are, if they're not already on par with anybody in the country, they can get there quickly, and that might be one of the factors that causes him to make that move. Are you hearing anything along those lines?
For sure, yes. And this gets back to Jimbo Fisher, the poker player. If he really, really deep down inside wants to stay and continue to build what he's been building since back when he was Bobby Bowden's, coach in waiting a long time ago, well, then it benefits him to, in front of boosters and decision makers and fans, and especially those who control the pocketbook at Florida State, it benefits him to show that other prominent programs are interested in him again. And it benefits him because it potentially gets key decision makers to say, we need to give Jimbo more of what he has been asking for. And this is a never-ending game. I mean, you look around the SEC, Florida fans have said that the Gators have fallen behind in the facility wars. Some people call it an excuse. Others will say, hey, Jimbo, if you and your staff weren't making so much money, there'd be more money to upgrade the Seminoles football facilities, right? So, the pot is a deep pot financially. Florida State is one of the richest athletic departments in the ACC. It is a $100 million plus athletic department. But they have more than one sport, obviously, but that is their flagship sport. So Jimbo Fisher is either the poker player who really wants to stay and is using the Texas A&M chip to motivate more decision makers to get more yeses to his requests, or this is a very real, serious situation for FSU, and for some reasons beyond their own control, maybe Jimbo really is interested in just starting fresh for reasons even beyond football.
The other story that's kind of popped up in maybe just the last 12 to 18 hours continues to be not only the dumpster fire at Tennessee and that coaching search and how badly things have gone there, but that inside that coaching search, that maybe their next target, or at least one of the guys they're considering, is Dave Doran at NC State, who is coming off of a good year, not a great season by any stretch of the imagination, but his best year at NC State. Any legs to those rumors?
I wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee was doing its due diligence on a dozen different candidates, but I would be shocked if Tennessee offered its job to Dave Doran. Now, the reality is, even Wolfpack Nation is divided about how great a coach Dave Doran is. He had a very successful 2-year tenure at Northern Illinois as a head coach. But going into this past season, he had 9 ACC wins and 23 ACC losses. And a little bit more than a year ago at this time, before the Wolfpack beat the rival Tar Heels last November in Chapel Hill, many Wolfpack fans were calling for Dave Doran to be fired with that 9-23 ACC record. So he did have his best team back. He admitted that. Everybody agreed in the preseason this is the best of his 5 years in Raleigh. But I think you just described it, well, he had a good year at 8-4. But when you have All-American defensive end Bradley Chubb, one of the best defensive players in the nation and a first-round draft pick, when you have a returning starter at quarterback in Ryan Finley, who was very accurate and very good for most of this year, when you have an All-ACC running back and return man, another upperclassman, Nyheim Hines, and Jalen Samuels, and Kelvin Harmon, I mean, this team was loaded with juniors and seniors, and they're loaded with high-end talent, and they got only to 8-4. I mean, that is a nice season, but relatively speaking, you could argue that it was underachieving, given what the Wolfpack had on its roster this year. You really have to cash in the years where your stars are back and you have juniors and seniors all over your depth chart. So I don't think – remember, Tennessee's fan base is the one so unhappy with Greg Schiano that they personally attacked his character in what I thought was an outrageous way. If you didn't like him as a football coach, that's one thing. But to personally attack his integrity based on a single sentence buried in a court document related to a hearsay conversation from 25 years ago, I mean, I found that disgraceful, what they did. Mm-hmm. If they're willing to do that because they're unhappy about Greg Schiano, I can guarantee you most of the Tennessee fans that I know have no interest in Dave Doran. And they're disappointed that Mike Gundy said no. They're disappointed that Dan Mullen wasn't interested. They're disappointed that Chip Kelly wasn't interested. But they have guys like Jeff Brom of Purdue or Chad Morris, a guy you guys know well in Clemson country, of SMU. I think there are several others, if not many others, that would inspire that rabid and sometimes angry Tennessee football fan base infinitely more than Dave Doran at NC State would.
We are visiting, as we do every Wednesday, from August to April with Dave Glenn, ACCSports.com, and the host of the David Glenn Show, syndicated live throughout the state of North Carolina. The latest poll is out. It's the next to last one. Clemson has moved into the number 1 slot, and there still could be a whole lot of chaos that could ensue behind that, including should Clemson get upset by Miami in this ACC championship game. What are your thoughts about Auburn with 2 losses at number 4 and a 1-loss Alabama team right now on the outside looking in?
Well, as we all know, the answer starts with it depends, right? If the ACC champion is going to get in, and the SEC champion is going to get in.
Yep.
Now, we don't know if that's the Canes and Tigers, and we don't know if that's Georgia or Auburn just yet. But those 2 champions will be in the Final Four, period. The Pac-12 has almost no chance of getting in. Notre Dame, of course, is out of the picture now that the Irish are 9-3. So those final 2 spots are either going to be Oklahoma, if the Sooners beat TCU in the Big 12 title game, and Wisconsin, if the Badgers beat Ohio State in the Big 10 title game. And that would just be a clean 1, 2, 3, 4. And in that scenario, I would think Alabama has absolutely no argument whatsoever if it's those 4, ACC champ, SEC champ, 12-1 Oklahoma, 13-0 Wisconsin. If there is an upset, TCU over Oklahoma or Ohio State over Wisconsin, if you think that is an upset, that's where the door is cracked for Alabama. So Bama fans have to root against Oklahoma, root against Wisconsin, and then cross their fingers because they have a little bit of a tricky resume. It will, I think, be good enough if those upsets happen, or at least one of those upsets happen. But sitting home on championship weekend is never a good sign, and it just leaves one fewer opportunity for you to get the kind of quality win that you need if you're Alabama. And right now, your best wins are over 9-3 LSU, 8-4 Mississippi State, and then a 7-5 Texas A&M team that just fired its coach. Might it be good enough? It might, because they thrash and dismantle. I think they basically crushed every one of their opponents that they beat. Auburn obviously took them out, but that was on the road. That's against a potential SEC champion. To me, Alabama will have a good chance if one of those upsets happen elsewhere. But I think that's a decision that the committee would like to avoid if they could, because there is sort of a chalk weekend that would leave them with 4 no-brainers to fill that bracket.
Interestingly enough, back to Jimbo Fisher for just a moment. News story just popped up on CBSSports.com that says if Jimbo Fisher does leave for Texas A&M, Florida State officials have already started preparations for just such a circumstance, and will look at people among the people they would look at would be Oregon coach Willie Taggart, who of course was coaching in Florida, the state of Florida, up until he took that Oregon job.
Yeah, and that's the smart thing to do. Jimbo Fisher's a different animal, Dan. I don't know if you've ever discussed this, but whereas Dabo Swinney is mostly be who you are, comfortable in your own skin, wear your emotions on your sleeve, share some personal stuff about yourself, and don't apologize for it. Jimbo Fisher is none of those things. He is wired more like a robot, or as much like a robot as he is like a human being. He does not wear his emotions on his sleeve the same way. He does not have the same candid, open conversations with many members of the Florida State administration. So if you're really not sure what's in the guy's heart, you better do your due diligence and have a plan B in case he chooses to jump to Texas A&M. So Jimbo is wired a lot more like, he's been described as a combination of Nick Saban of Alabama, for whom he once worked, of course, and Bobby Bowden, the guy he worked under at Florida State. I find him to be 90% Nick Saban and only 10% Bobby Bowden. And that makes him a lot more difficult to read, even if you're in the same hallways as him every day, and a lot more difficult to predict at times like this.
Dave, ACC championship game on Saturday, handicap at Forest, Miami's bubble burst. I'll get it out, I promise. The bubble burst last week at Pitt. And interestingly, both of these teams lose Friday games as their only losses of the season. Handicap at Forest, what kind of chances does Miami have to upset Clemson?
They have a chance, but there's no doubt that my money is on the Clemson Tigers. This is a better offensive football team. I believe the Tigers are even the better defensive football team. Miami has some interesting weapons on special teams that may give the Canes an advantage there. A really good kicker in Michael Badgley, and you guys are well aware of the starting kicking injury at Clemson. So we'll see if it's a close enough game for that kind of stuff to matter. But Miami's only road to victory in my eyes as the underdog, as the less talented team, as the group that is not nearly as familiar with these big stages as so many of these Tigers players are, is the Manny Diaz turnover chain recipe, where you are +2, +3, or they've created 4 turnovers a game, sometimes for weeks at a time, 4 each week, that defense. That helped make that turnover chain that famous. That helped make Manny Diaz, one of the most celebrated assistant coaches in all of college football this year, and deservedly so. But they give up a lot of yards, Dan. This is not a dominating, 1985 Chicago Bears defense. This is, some have thrown on them well, others have run on them well, many have moved the ball on them well. Just the Canes kept coming up with turnovers. And we all know how important turnovers are at any level of football. So I don't think the Tigers are going to give them those gifts. I trust Kelly Bryant at quarterback. I believe in Travis Etienne at running back and Deion Kane at wide receiver. And that defense is just lights out at Clemson. So I think there's the possibility of a rout by the Clemson Tigers against Miami. But if you again, +2 or 3 in turnovers, that means anything can happen.
All right, Dave, finally, any basketball notes we need to be thinking about amidst all this football madness?
I'd say the 6 best teams in this league. Duke, in whatever order you want to put them. Duke, number one, of course, in the polls as we speak. But also Notre Dame, which is up in the top 5. Carolina, which is in the top 10 or so. Miami is out of the gate very quickly. This is a really deep basketball league that is dominating the ACC Big Ten Challenge as we speak. That has Virginia playing well, Louisville playing well, although the Cardinals lost last night. That top 6 for the ACC is going to rebrand this league as usual as the best that college basketball has to offer. Outside of those 6 is where it'll get interesting. I mean, who knows which and how many others will emerge as NCAA tournament caliber teams. But if you haven't had a chance to see Marvin Bagley III, the star freshman big man at Duke, Devils are at Indiana tonight. That game's on ESPN at 9:30. Check him out because he's going to be a one-and-done player, and he is really that good. He's going to be first-team All-ACC as a freshman, and assuming good health, he's going to be a candidate for the ACC Player of the Year, even as a freshman. The Devils are really good, and Marvin Bagley III is really, really that good.
All right, Dave, tell everybody how they can keep up with everything you've got going on.
ACCsports.com, Dan, as you know. If you like basketball, if you like football, if you like recruiting, we send our audio there that's ACC-related from our statewide radio show. We have great interviews, great analytics, great historical stuff, and then the all-day, everyday coverage of the usual headlines right there at ACCsports.com.
David, as always, my friend, sounds like a plan. Look forward to talking to you next week.
All right. Congratulations, Grandpa. We'll talk to you then.
All right, man. Take it easy. That is David Glenn, ACCsports.com. Before we go out to break, let me remind you about our friends at Hall's Chop House in downtown Greenville. And they, as I keep telling you, they have dubbed themselves the Greenville Steakhouse. Well, if you're going to be the anything, you better be able to back it up. And they do. The menu does with the Allen Brothers Prime Steaks out of Chicago, and everything else falls into place right underneath it. They are open 7 nights a week for dinner. They're open on Sundays for brunch. They have an incredible amount of meeting space. So if you've got a Christmas party coming up, a corporate event coming up, you need space, you need food, they've got it all for you in a great location downtown. That's Hall's Chop House, the Greenville Steakhouse. It's one of the favorites of many of the people here at Furman University, and it will be of yours too. All right, to break we go. We'll come back and we'll close out the program. A little Furman basketball preview, some more coaching stuff to get into, and a look ahead. All that in the final segment on the other side. Stay with us.
Looking for a good lunch spot in the Travelers Rest area? The Cafe at Williams Hardware is your place. Williams Hardware has food for the whole family, from the famous ribbon to the barbecue chicken quesadilla and their daily lunch specials, which includes the award-winning BLT unpimiented cheese with pepper jelly, served Tuesday to Thursday. Williams Hardware also serves breakfast on Saturdays from 8 to 11, perfect before Furman home game. And don't forget their gift shop, which offers items for anyone on your list. Go see your friends at the Cafe at Williams Hardware, 13 South Main Street in downtown TR. Full menu and operating hours at the Cafe at WilliamsHardware.com.
Say you've got a busted phone or tablet screen. Time to get a new device? Nope. Time to give it CPR. CPR cell phone repair at Cherrydale can repair almost any phone or tablet screen on the market and usually can do it same day. In fact, if you have an iPhone, the fix usually takes less than an hour. CPO cell phone repair also can fix computers and gaming systems, both screens and hard drives. And they sell refurbished devices and new accessories. Stop by and see the new owner, Janet Culver, today, and check them out on Facebook. That's CPR cell phone repair at Cherrydale, 864-282-9097. Give it CPR today.
Hey Furman fans, it's baseball season. Here at Ingalls, we know that as you root for the home team, sometimes you want more than just peanuts and Cracker Jack. And while we do deliver on your favorite ballpark classics, we're proud to offer a packed lineup of everything you need to make your next meal a home run. Ingalls, a proud sponsor of Furman Baseball and the official grocery store of Furman Athletics. Go Dins!
The Atlanta Bread Company at Cherrydale Point offers a dining experience that will have you coming back for more time and time again. Everything is freshly made on site, including the different varieties of bread and all the baked goodies. And the menu, Atlanta Bread Company offers a wide variety from hot soups and chili to hot and cold sandwiches and paninis. Even breakfast selections topped off with your choice of piping hot coffees. Come see for yourself.
You'll love it. The Atlanta Bread Company at Cherrydale Point, proud sponsors of the Furman Paladins and the Dan Scott Show. All right, welcome back. Final segment of the show. At 10:51, I am Dan Scott. We'll be back in studio tomorrow. Forrest Stulting will be back with us, and we'll continue looking ahead towards Furman and Wofford. We'll have our college football picks tomorrow. Hoping that on Friday we'll be able to talk with Mark Hauser, the play-by-play voice of the Wofford Terriers, and trying to get Todd Shaughnessy scheduled, who covers Wofford and has for many, many years for the Spartanburg Herald-Journal, to talk about that game and I'm sure some other things as well. So we'll let you know if we get that done, and that's all coming up tomorrow and or on Friday. Let's see, what do we have? Furman basketball tonight against the Winthrop Eagles, and the Paladins owe them one from a year ago. We had that game won. That was a very, very good mid-major college basketball game on the road a year ago up at Winthrop, and just nip and tuck the whole way. Paladins had control late, and Winthrop on its final possession, their little guard, who was so fantastic and whose name escapes me at the moment, in their final possession, drives down the lane. Furman is up 2, if I remember correctly. Drives down the left side of the lane. We do a great job of walling him off from the basket, getting him pinned behind the basket along the baseline in a double team. And he turns with the clock winding down in desperation and throws a pass up toward the three-point line. And one of their other guards, there are 2 brothers on that team from the state of Minnesota, one of them, with his back to the basket, runs down the ball, turns, and in desperation heaves it to the basket, and he banked in a 3 to beat Furman last year up at Winthrop. So I would imagine, new year, a lot of new characters, but for those who are around, and Furman returns everybody from that team except Chris Acox, that stung a little. They'll remember that. So get the rematch tonight at Timmons Arena. 7 o'clock start, 6:30 airtime radio-wise on the flagship station of Furman Sports, Fox Sports 1440. It will also be available via Stretch Audio at FurmanPaladins.com and on the TuneIn app. And if you are a student at Furman, the first 150 of you get a brand new free white all-din Furman T-shirt. Saw those in one of our meetings yesterday, and they are very, very nice. Paladins are ranked 21st in the latest College Insider mid-major top 25 poll, coming in at 4-2 and coming off winning both games in the PK 80 tournament in Nashville, beating New Hampshire and Northeastern. Devin Sibley has scored 20 or more points in 5 of the 6 games, leads the team at 18.2 points and almost 6 rebounds a game, coming off a 20.9 board performance Friday against New Hampshire, and then 22 and 10 on Saturday against Northeastern. John Davis III averaging 12.3 points, Daniel Fowler 11.5 and 4.2 rebounds, Matt Rafferty averaging almost 11 points and 7 rebounds per game. Winthrop coming off of an 86-61 home win over South Carolina State this past Sunday. They are 3-3 on the season. Xavier Cooks, a senior forward, leads them in scoring and rebounding at 14.6 and 8.8 per game, respectively. Furman leads the series 5-4, but Winthrop has won each of the last 4 meetings, and it was Anders Broman who connected on that desperation 3 with 1.7 seconds remaining to give them the 58-57 win in overtime up in Rock Hill. If you want tickets, available at the ticket office at Timmons Arena, or you can still order them online at FurmanPaladins.com/tickets and get them and print them out from there. And the next home game is Saturday against Tennessee Tech at 4 o'clock. Of course, that'll also be going on the same time as football at Wofford. Speaking of that, if you want tickets to Furman Wofford, Paladin fans have responded tremendously. The first 500 came and went like that. Dwight Covington picked up another set of 500 tickets from Wofford on Monday and had started flying through those as well. We had between 11 and 1,200 Paladin fans at Elon for the first round playoff game, and expect to have more than that up in Spartanburg for round 2 against the Terriers. Need to get as many purple-clad fans as we can there. Tickets are $25 a piece, and that's the NCAA set price. So you go there to FurmanPaladins.com/tickets, and you can buy your tickets there online. If you're a student, you can buy them online for $25, or you can show up at the gate on Saturday, show your student ID, and get in for $10. Some students have gone ahead and bought the $25 ticket because they want to make sure they've got a seat in the Furman section. But that is available if you're a student on game day. It's a walk-up ticket only. Show your student ID, and you get in for $10. So that's a little bit of a recap as to what's going on here. Just a couple of other notes from the college football coaching search carousel. You may have seen the story earlier about Tennessee as they continue to search for a football coach. It won't be Mike Gundy. His flirtation is over. He is staying put at his alma mater at Oklahoma State. Although one of the great lines that I saw yesterday on Twitter, and I can't remember who did it because I'd love to give him credit, but it was breaking news, and I'm paraphrasing here because I can't remember word for word, but Oklahoma State's Mike Gundy interviews for Tennessee job will take time to ... mullet over. M-U-L-L-E-T. Mullet, the hairstyle. It was a fantastic tweet. That's Hall of Fame nomination worthy right there. Mississippi State did not waste any time in its coaching search after Dan Mullen left to go to Florida. They have tabbed Penn State offensive coordinator Joe Moorhead to be their next head coach, so they waste very little time, if any, in getting his replacement. And then, of course, we talked about Jimbo Fisher, and is he going to Texas A&M? Is he not? And what does that do to Florida State if he does? We had that with Dave Glenn. So that's kind of an update as to where you are on the NCAA coaching search. I will remind you again that tomorrow, more Furman Wofford coverage, more college football picks, more coaching carousel. We'll be also reviewing the basketball game over Winthrop, or with Winthrop, which we hope is going to be a win over the Eagles, all on tomorrow's program, and we'll be back in studio at Furman. Thank you so much for your kind attention today. Appreciate you bearing with us here in our home studio. Everything's not perfect, but we made our way through it. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Until then, I'm Dan Scott saying God bless you, and so long, everybody.